super excited to show you this project. This is something that I have made many times before. I have given them as gifts many times before, and so I hope that you get some inspirations for this. And also, if you have a baby shower or a new little baby in your life, you can whip one of these up super quick, super easy. It doesn't take a lot of time. It is a little blanket that you can make for your baby, and it's got a whole bunch of fun toys to pull on, to chew on. It's got some wood rings that you can clip onto a stroller or a car seat. So it's got one side with a pretty pattern, and then the other side is this nice soft minky fabric. So I hope you enjoy the video, and let me know in the comments if you make one as well. We are going to start with these fabrics I picked out for this little baby blanket. I've got a cute little one. It says Little Monkey. I've used this in several baby things before, so I only have a small piece of it left. And then I've got this minky fabric. It's super soft. It's got little bumps. And so this is going to be the other side of our little baby blanket. I also have this template. It's a hexagon, and this is what I'm going to be using to cut out my pieces. Instead of doing a square or a circle, I'm going to go ahead and do a little piece of this hexagon. So now I've got my one hexagon. Oh, that's going to be so cute. I've got some scraps, and always keep your scraps because you can make little matching baby blocks out of these, or little passy holders. And then instead of using my my hard template, my plastic template, I'm just going to use this as the template, and I only need one piece. There we go. Let's fold that up to keep those scraps. Hopefully one day I'm going to show you, I actually made out of this fabric, this was one of the fabrics I used, I made a puzzle piece floor mat. And so at some point I want to make that for you and show you how to do that, because it was really cute. All right, now you have to decide how thick you want your little baby blanket. I'm going to just use these 2 layers because I think that'll be a really nice weight. But if you wanted, you could certainly use some batting in the middle. Let me see. I think I need to trim this little piece off at the edge. I'm gonna do that. Okay, perfect. But if you wanted, you could use some cotton batting and put this in between, and that would just make it a little bit thicker. One of the things I'm going to use, I have this little piece of wood. It's just a round piece of wood. These are great for babies to chew on, but also they're great to use a clip to hook it to something. So I'm going to put 2 of these on, one on either side probably. So now is the fun part. I've got a whole bunch of ribbon, and at this point I'm going to be starting to use some ribbon and just adding little pieces of ribbon onto this. And I'll show you how I'm going to do that. I'm going to get my pins, and I just need one side. So I'm going to turn the right side up, and this is what I'm going to be putting and pinning all my different ribbons to. I've got this brown rickrack I think is so cute, and that's what I'm going to be using to add one of these. probably both of those on either end. So I'm going to trim this off. And I'm going to want it to be on this end at the finish. So that means as I do this, I'm going to pin it this way. So that way when we put right sides together and we sew over it and flip it, it'll come out perfectly. So I'm gonna put that there. And then I've actually got some pink rickrack as well. So let me grab a piece of that, and I'll use this pink rickrack on the other end. So then it's pretty much just a matter of adding strings as decoration for the baby to play with as you go and do each one. So you can see you can add different lengths. This length's a little bit longer. I'm going to do a couple that are shorter lengths. And just pin these around. I've seen also where you can even put like a little bell or a little rattle and clip it to one of these. That would certainly be something cute that you could do. I've got some rickrack that's a little bit smaller. Add a few of these. If you had some yellow ribbon, you could certainly use some yellow as well. Just any other colors. It would be fun to do something like super colorful. I do have one fabric that has, it's like a white with a whole bunch of dots, and all the dots are different colors. That would be something really, really cute that you could do. And that way you could just use tons of different kinds of ribbon. I keep a bag of ribbon scraps with my things, and I just think that is the perfect way to use up a whole bunch of this ribbon that I have. I love making baby blocks this way as well. I'll even keep some small appliques and do that. The last I'm going to add is some of this brown. Lots of little dangles for the babies to play with. Alrighty, so there we have pretty much our little baby blanket slash toy. So now we're going to take what we had before, our other piece of Minky, and we are going to put it right sides together. So we've got this good side facing up and this good side facing down. You're going to put it right over those. These lined up, and now you get to pin around the entire piece. If you have those little clips, I've been seeing on YouTube people using little clips instead of pins. Those would probably be much easier for this type of project, but I do not have those yet. Just try to match up all the corners. And we're going to be really careful as we sew this to make sure that we're pulling out the pins that are already in there. so that we don't sew over any pins as we go. All right, we also have to decide where we're going to leave a small opening. And I've got a place over on this end that I didn't put as many. So right here, I've got about 3 inches where there's only like one piece of a dangle over here. So this is going to be where we're going to stop and start. It'll just make it really easy that when we're finishing it up at the final stage and sewing it closed, it will be easy that we don't have any of the little ribbon dangles. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and start by sewing right here, and I'm going to sew around. I'm going to use, instead of 1/4 of an inch, I'm going to use probably 3/8 to 1/2 inch of a seam allowance. So just where my needle is from the edge of the fabric, I'm going to make it a little bit larger and do about 3/8 of an inch. I'm going to start here, back stitch right here, and then go all the way around, and then leave this opening about 2.5 inches. I am not going to sew right there. You have to decide whether you're going to sew with this fabric on top. I'm actually going to flip it over because the Minky has a little bit more stretch than this cotton fabric. It's going to be a little bit easier for the feed dogs on the machine to thread this through. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on the bottom, this on the top, and start sewing. I'm going to back stitch on all of the corners as well, just to give them a little bit more reinforcement. Just pulling out the needles as we go around. Sometimes you may have to pull a needle out and then keep those just in place with your hands. If you wanted to back stitch over every single ribbon or string, that also wouldn't be a bad idea because they will be pulled on and played with. So just have those extra reinforcements would also be a really good idea. Hexagon has 8 sides. So we are slowly making our way around all 8 sides. All right, this is the side that we started on. So as we come to this, remember we're going to leave about a 2.5 inch opening. So we're going to go down here and then back stitch. There's our 2.5 inch opening that we haven't sewn. So what we're going to do next is we're going to trim off some of these edges just a little bit so that when we turn them inside out, there won't be as much bulk near the edges, or near the corners, I should say. Especially where the rickrack comes through, we'll definitely want to trim that down. Make sure don't get too close to the edge and clip over any of your sewn seams. You definitely don't want that. Just to trim off any large bumps that we have. Then we'll trim off these threads as well. All right, let me zoom you out so that you can see what it looks like. Here we go. This is the entire little baby blanket. And now we are going to go ahead and flip it inside out through this little hole. I'm really hoping I made my hole big enough for these little things to go through. Yep, I did. I know there's another one in here. We'll start with pulling both of these out, and then we're just going to turn all of this inside out through that little hole. There was a needle. Let me pull that out as I get that. Here we go. Lost that one in there. Ooh, there's another needle. So I didn't pull all of them out as I went around. Okay, now as we go through, pop all these corners through. All right. Here we go. How cute is that? It's got a little hook to hook on. It's got another one to play with, or you could even hook both of them on and have it hanging off like that. All right, so to finish this, we are going to go ahead and sew around again this time sewing these two sides down. And then when we come over here to this opening, we'll also make sure to sew that closed. So let me zoom you in. We're going to start over on this side and sew around the entire thing. You can do a coordinating color of thread. I have white in my machine, so I'm just going to continue sewing with white. But if you wanted to do a yellow color or a brown or even a pink, that would certainly be fine. I am just sewing around using 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. So my needle is about 1/8 of an inch from the edge of what I'm sewing. All the way back to the beginning and take it off. Here we go. Here is our finished little blanket. You can see how it's sewn around the outside. And you can even see where this is where it was open. And because we folded that in and sewed over it, it is also nice and closed in. And that was it. Super easy, super simple. I hope you enjoyed watching as I made one of these things. The opportunities are endless. The different ribbons you can put on there. You can even add some appliques, some different things. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you go and make your own little baby gift.